G'day there guys, man in a floral shirt here to haunt your nightmares, back again with another episode of r/Am I the A-hole. Now if you think anyone is the a-hole in today's episode, I want you to let me know down in the comments, sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and have a bloody good one. Posted by user Choice Rock, titled, Am I the a-hole for offering a drink to a girl in a bar and then not paying for it? I'm male 23, and a few months ago, I was at a nice bar in Toronto with my boys, and I saw this really hot girl. Decided to shoot my shot, and we spoke and danced for a bit, and I offered to buy her a drink, and she gladly accompanied me to the bar. When I got there, I was like, can I have a beer? And whatever she wants. She promptly says, can I get 4 double shots of 1942? That's like $75 a shot for a double of 1942, and I was like, what the hell, mate? And she said they're for her friends, and patted me on the back. When the bartender came back, I slapped a $10 bill on the table and told him she'd be covering the shots and walked away. She was ticked and yelling the normal insults at me, lol. Well, it turns out my mum works with her, and they were talking, and my mum showed her a picture of me. God damn it, mum. She instantly recognized me, and remembered my name and told my mum about what I did. My mum then called me and said I'm a huge a-hole and told me to send her the cost of the 4 drinks, which was like $325 with tips. I just laughed and told my mum I'm not doing that, and my mum said that the girl thinks I'm a huge a-hole and douche, and she agrees, lol. Am I the a-hole? I was all ready to say you were the a-hole, till reading the part where you offered her a drink and she ordered 4. What the hell? Not the a-hole. She tried some bull move that you rebuffed. She knew she was taking the mick when she patted you. I'm impressed with your nerve to straight up reject that and walk away. Side note, hilarious that it still bugs her. I'm not paying $300+ for shots for a girl I don't know and her friends, lol. Easiest decision ever. And ha, my mum's like, she's a student, you've been working full time, you should have paid. That's a simple case of live within your needs. If you want a drink, order something you can afford and don't take the pee when someone offers you a drink. She's clearly a Philistine. 1942 is a sipping tequila. Only douchebags take it as shots. I haven't heard Philistine as a pejorative in a long-ass time. Upvote for you. Had a guy once ask to buy me a drink when I was young and hot. I was involved, but I was there with a bunch of single friends. I told him if he bought me a drink, I'd introduce him to my friends as a guy who bought me a drink. He agreed. I got a strawberry daiquiri with an extra shot of rum, like $7 with tip. I was 100% upfront about everything and didn't buy a crazy drink. I don't talk to her regularly anymore, but he and one of the friends I was there with just celebrated 15 years married. Whoa, I love that. Not the a-hole. She took advantage of you being interested in her, and it's very rude for her to snitch on you to your mother like a 7-year-old. Just girl talk, I guess. My mum's her boss, lol. Oh, yikes. I'm trying to imagine what the author of the Ask a Manager blog would say about this, and none of it is good. That girl is an a-hole in her personal life and a mess in her professional life. Like, I'm not seeing anything good about her character here, and I'm a little surprised that your mum would A, gossip with her subordinates like that, and B, hold you responsible for someone else flouting all rules of etiquette, not the a-hole. They were having a virtual one-on-one happy hour, and my mum is very proud of me, so she's always talking about me, so I guess that's how this was brought up, and I'm sure she showed a picture of me to try and hooking us up together. Little does she know about how Toronto girls are all finesses. Lamau? Is there more to this story, or what were you trying to finesse out of her? Her ass. Hey. Not the a-hole. She was totally trying to take advantage of a nice gesture. You would be an a-hole if she ordered a simple drink just for her, but you are by no means required to spend over $300 for her friends too. If anything, she is the a-hole expecting you to buy drinks for her whole group. Agreed. She totally overstepped the line. $300 for a drink? Come on, girlfriend. He was being a nice guy. That wasn't the opportunity to get your table around. I feel bad about going out to dinner and getting a bill that high. I've only been on a couple of dates where the bill was over $300, and my date and I always discussed payment beforehand. I cannot at all imagine trying to get away with getting $300+ in just alcohol. She's obviously played that trick and gotten away with it before. Opie is not the a-hole, and she absolutely is. Mum kinda sucks too. My question is, why is everything in Canada so much worse than at least America that I'm seeing on Am I the A-hole and Legal Advice? Canada, Toronto, Ontario, specifically has just wild stuff going on. Posted by user Fluffy Unicorn. Titled, Am I the A-hole for walking out of my father's funeral? Throwaway account for obvious reasons. Important info, I'm a Caucasian female, early 30s, married to a lovely mixed male, and we have a 2-year-old. I've cut contact with my family about 5 years ago, mostly due to my mother's narcissistic behavior and her being pretty darn racist. She hated me dating my now husband, and the rest of my family condoning the crap she put us up with. Most of my other relatives cut ties with my family before I was born, or shortly after. I'm thinking it's once again because of my mother. The only one that kept in touch was one of my aunts from my father's side. This happened yesterday. Last Friday, I got a call from my aunt that my dad got into an accident 2 days prior and didn't make it. He died on impact, apparently. She asked me if I'd heard anything from my family, to which I replied, no. Important to know that I've been using the same cell phone number and email since I was 18 or so. She figured they forgot and asked me if I wanted to come to the funeral. After a few minutes of thinking, I told her I'd come if my family was okay with it and if she wanted me to. I explained to her that I wouldn't be going for myself or my father/family, just to support her. She said she'd want me there as she'd have no other support, and called me later to tell my family was okay with me coming. So, yesterday was the day of the funeral. The past few days I did not hear a single thing from my family. When I got to the location, my family members jumped right on top of me, telling me how happy they were that I came, that we should go to dinner, told me all kinds of stories about things that happened in the last 5 years. They basically acted like those 5 years didn't happen, and we weren't there for a funeral. I know grief does some things to people, so I let it slide and played along. But it made me feel really uneasy, and I made sure not to give any details about my own family or job, as they know nothing about that, and I wanted to keep it that way, as it was not the time and place for an argument about my husband. During the ceremony, they insisted I sat next to my mother. Everything started out okay, but when it was time for speeches, my family insisted I'd speak. I quietly told them no, that I had nothing prepared, but they didn't accept it. So I got up and quickly said, "He'll be missed," and sat down. They visibly were not happy with me, and my mother started shouting at me, telling me I was a worthless tramp, that I'd always treated them without any respect, and that I was a bichacho for not giving an actual speech about how amazing my father was in front of the 150 plus that had shown up. So I look at her for a few seconds, mostly trying to figure out what the hell just happened, stood up, told her to enjoy the rest of the day, and walked out. My husband told me that I did the right thing, and he was proud of me for keeping my cool instead of starting a shouting match. So is my auntie, but I've been bombarded with messages from people that say I went too far. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole at all. They treated you like a performing monkey, and you refused to play that game. Well done. It is the height of insensitivity to ask someone to speak at a funeral after the service has started. Even without all the rest, that is fundamentally a dick move. I take it that there was no apology for the fact that none of your siblings, or your mother, had actually told you about your father's death. You are well out of it. She's always tried to get me to do stuff she wanted me to do, and I often refused, which always caused her to shout and punish and do anything that she knows would really hurt me, basically. That's one of the reasons I decided to cut the contact. They told me they didn't have my number, but considering I've never changed it and had no missed calls, they'd never even tried it. And none of them know the word sorry, unless it's in a sorry mum kind of way. My mother is allergic to the word. She'd never ever say it unless it was a lie. Apparently they did have your number since they're blowing it up right now. Yep, and also got a few emails. They even found my husband's Facebook, and he's gotten a few nasty messages as well. We've got everything blocked and on lockdown. I've already got a new email set up and requested a new phone number. Nothing but luck to you as you navigate this. The real jerks show up during the grieving process. My father found out when his mother died which one of the siblings had his back. It sucks. At least you got your husband by your side to take on the haters. And yeah, not the a-hole. I agree with the performing monkey expectation put on you out of nowhere. So inappropriate. Just how could you possibly have gone too far? You didn't do anything. Not the a-hole. Now go kiss your hubby for being a properly supportive dude. I guess for walking out and not saying anything nice? I don't even know the people messaging me. I think they're co-workers of his or something, and I'm just assuming they heard a different version of what happened and the cause of my decision 5 years ago. Anyone who sees a young woman peace out in the face of getting screamed at by her mum at her dad's funeral and decides that was the wrong thing to do is clearly a moron. Posted by user Miko319, titled, "Am I the a-hole for kicking down a door at my friend's house?" So, last weekend, a few mates and I got together and had drinks and dinner while watching bad movies. The apartment belonged to Sophia. At some point, she asked if I could get something out for her walk-in pantry while she cooked. Her and another of my friends locked me in. I have claustrophobia as a result of trauma I experienced as a child. I don't feel comfortable sharing online. They are aware of it, so I panicked and begged them to let me out. After 2 to 3 minutes of them laughing, I couldn't take it anymore, so I kicked the door, which broke the hinges and caused it to fall off. It was only small and made of seemingly flimsy wood. I ended up having a screaming match with the two that locked me in while a third friend arrived. Said third friend agreed that what they did was terrible, but the other two said I overreacted and should pay for the door. I disagreed, so my friend and I left. Sophia had contacted me asking me for money, but I'm steadfast in believing I shouldn't pay for anything. I also think I'm owed an apology. Am I the a-hole? Edit 1. Sophia found this post and shared it with the other guy who locked me in. Sophia genuinely apologized. The other guy, Grant, called, said I was trying to sick the internet against him. Edit 2, Part 1. The friend who sided with me, Van, has found this post too. Between these comments and Van's personal input, I have decided to forgive Sophia, but block her as well as Grant on all social media platforms for what they did to me. I don't think I can trust them again, and to answer DM, I still don't feel comfortable saying why I'm claustrophobic. Edit 2, Part 2. I think you should all know that I'm feeling much better. Van let me vent to him and prepared my favorite comfort food, which is pho, using ingredients, a pressure cooker that he brought over, and it was delicious. Thank you for all your support. And it's also pronounced pho apparently as well, but I like pho. Angsty Wench says, "Not the a-hole. If they knew about your traumatic issues and they did that to you anyway, they are the a-hole. Even if they didn't and heard your responses and then did nothing but laugh, they are the a-hole. You don't owe them anything except the sight of your back, as well as you walking out of their lives for good." Edited to add, Pouty Ass, who was called out anonymously for being an utter jerk, has proven himself by whining that the whole entire Reddit thinks he's an ass. Also, it's highly likely that the one who apologized is not to be trusted moving forward. OP would still be not the a-hole if they weren't traumatized. In fact, the trauma doesn't change anything here. OP was locked in, they laughed, door is gone. There is no required tolerance for a one-sided prank before you force the prank to end. Everyone, no matter trauma or not, would kick that door. You're right, OP is not the a-hole in any way, but the other people are extra the a-hole in the fact that they knew OP has a history of trauma involving it. Absolutely true. I don't understand how something can be funny if it's causing harm to other people. Definitely not the a-hole, and absolutely do not pay for the door. It'll be a lesson for them to know you don't mess with someone in that way. Not the a-hole. What they did was cruel, and then when you reacted accordingly, they were even worse when they demanded you pay for the door. Don't pay for it. You don't owe them anything. Even if trauma wasn't an issue, you have a right to leave. You can't just lock people in places and feel entitled for their waiting patiently to be let out. If a person is locked up, it's never wrong for them to do everything in their power to not be locked up. Related fun fact. In many countries, the act of escaping prison is not itself a punishable crime because seeking to escape imprisonment is seen as foundational, natural human behavior. So yeah, not the a-hole. I actually didn't know that. Thank you, but I absolutely agree. Deliberately locking someone up and expecting them to not try and escape is idiotic at best. I can confirm here in Belgium, it is considered that humans have an inherent need to be free. So if they escape prison without hurting anyone or damaging anything, that act is not punished as it's considered human. However, if they hurt people while escaping, they will get punishment for that, and also if they were up for early release for good behavior, after an escape that might not happen though. Posted by user Awful Sister Am I the A-hole? Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling our family that my sister is a prostitute after she insulted my wife's disability? So, my wife is paraplegic. She was fun when I first met her. It's from an accident a long time ago, but she's well adapted to it. I love her and she's just as useful as someone who can walk. My sister, for some reason, has never liked my wife. She's always had some problem with her, whether she claims it's attitude or something else. I've talked to my wife about it, and she doesn't know why, and I've talked to my sister about it, and she's never given me a straight answer on why she doesn't like her. I had just accepted it until now. Not everybody likes everyone else. And until now, my sister hadn't said anything rude about it. Now, my sister was a prostitute in college, and she claims she's just camming now. She doesn't have a job, she just does that. She told me because I found out accidentally once. She made me hide it to our family and claims she has a job at a company near us. I was talking to my sister on the phone last week because she wanted me to fix her sink or at least look at it, because her landlord wasn't doing anything about it. I had told her I didn't know when I could because I've been remodeling one of our bathrooms, which has turned into a larger project than I really bargained for. I might end up just hiring someone to do it, honestly. My sister then, for no reason, made a comment about my wife. She said, why don't you just have her, my wife, who I had said something to, make herself useful and help, or wait, she can't because of her disability. She said this mockingly, as if being in a wheelchair isn't a disability. I had the phone on the speakerphone and my wife heard. She was pretty hurt by it, and I was beyond ticked off. I yelled at her and hung up. After consoling my wife a little bit, I decided to call our parents and tell what my sister actually does for her job. They thanked me for telling them, and that was that. Then my sister called me again and yelled at me, saying our whole family is calling her, telling her to stop, and staging an intervention for her. I told her that she should have thought about that before being a tramp to my wife, and hung up. It's been a few days now, and I'm thinking I went a little nuclear on her. At the time, I felt like yelling at her wasn't enough, but now I think maybe yelling at her would have been enough. Am I the a-hole? Edits, I wasn't on a campsite to find out. I went to her apartment to surprise her with a present. This is before either of us met my wife, and she was with a John. I didn't know what a John was, so I looked it up on Urban Dictionary. There's some funny stories that people put up about a John. Oh my god. Everyone sucks here, but honestly, I would have done the same and accepted my a-holery. I wish I was a better person, but I guess I'm not. I hate to admit, but agree with you. We're all a-holes here then. I don't even hate to admit it, but maybe she'll think twice about being respectful in the future. Screw it, not the a-hole. She's mocking someone for something they didn't choose. You retaliated with something she did choose. Only a nasty piece of work would make comments like that, so screw them. I agree. His sister is an awful person. It wasn't a one-off comment. It's been years of vitriol. Eventually, anyone would snap. This guy lasted longer holding his tongue than I would have. I would have said something way worse, to be honest. If anything, I commend him for being as refrained as he was. Yeah, seriously, I'd be scorching some earth if I was in his place. I honestly don't understand why he still has a relationship with his sister. He's normalized her behavior to an extent by overlooking it. This wouldn't be happening if he had dealt with her behavior years ago. I agree with you, but the only reason I'd vote everyone sucks here is because he's taking advantage of the idea held by his family and so many others that sex work is something to be ashamed of. Sex work is real work. She's not any less of an a-hole, but I think it's crappy to shame someone for doing sex work. But you don't know if they feel it's shameful. The family may just feel that it's dangerous. I would be alarmed if one of my nieces was a prostitute, mainly because it can be so deadly. There's not exactly a risk-free way to do this. It's not like there are regulations keeping it safe. There can never be regulations like other jobs have. Everyone sucks here. She shouldn't have said what she said, but it also wasn't your place to tell your parents either. I came here to say exactly this. Everyone sucks here, though really just you and your sister. The sister verbally abused a severely physically disabled person and questioned her worth to society and the relationship. He exposed her lies and told the truth to their parents about what she does for a living. Everyone sucks here, but let's not try and claim it's equal. She is a way worse person. He's a protective husband that responded negatively to awful comments. Wife is innocent, of course. He's a protective husband. That's giving OP too much credit. If he was being a protective husband, his actions would have been about protecting his wife, not getting pissy, petty revenge on his sister in a manner that does literally nothing to fix the actual problem at hand. Not gonna lie, I love when people get into it like this, so I want to know what you guys think of this one. Posted by user Temporary Reality 8, titled, "Am I the a-hole for not splitting my inheritance with my estranged sister?" So this is obviously a long story spanning our entire lives, but I will try to condense it as best I can. Players are me 30 female, sister 34 female, husband 39 male, niece 5 female, and dad 80 male. My older sister has had trouble with drugs, alcohol, and the law our entire life. She has been Baker acted no less than 20 times since her 18th birthday and has actually technically died twice due to her decisions. She's back by the grace of medical professionals treating her. My dad has constantly bailed her out on anything, whether it be jail or missing rent payments, because she spent the money on drugs. My dad had cancer for the last decade. Despite my sister and him already living in the same apartment complex, and my dad paying the entirety of her rent, my husband and I were essentially forced to move across our city 3 months before our wedding because Dad was starting chemo and needed the extra help. My next 3 years were devoted to caring for Dad. I lost 2 jobs due to the time I needed to take off to care for him, and my sister continued to mooch and do absolutely nothing for him. I was the one expected to make medical decisions for him alone because he didn't trust my sister not to try to mooch his money off of him, or try to off him for his money. Sorry. Dad is finally at peace, and against my better judgment, I asked my sister to come by so she could say her goodbyes. Before they even came to take him from his apartment to the funeral home, she was demanding that I open and read the will. She insisted that Dad had been paying for her to try to finally earn her bachelor's, and she needed $2,000. This amount changed to $3,000 within 24 hours. She started pointing at Dad's belongings, and said that she was claiming items she wanted. Oh, that is so sad, druggy behavior, man. After I finally read the will, I'm the executor of the estate. We learned that Dad left everything to me, except for creating a trust fund for my niece that my sister can't touch until her 21st. My sister lost her mind, and started demanding that I split what I got from him. Dad also left specific instructions to me and my husband to use what he had left to us to buy a house, pay off our debts, and finally start a family. And we really want to honor his last wishes, but we wouldn't be able to if I split it with my sister. Obviously, emotions are high, and none of us are thinking right. But am I the a-hole for respecting Dad's wishes and making sure that we use what he left us for what he wanted it to be used for? No, don't feed into your sister's delusion. She's a drug addict, it's going to go straight to drugs. If she wants to break the cycle, she will. I don't think it's the right thing to give her the split when it's not in the will. Yeah, you might be an a-hole in a lot of people's eyes for that, and you won't be an a-hole in a lot of people's eyes for that. I don't think it's right. She's probably going to die with the money, and it's just going to get back into the system. That's my take. Not the a-hole. Don't you dare give her your inheritance. Adding on to this, she has already had her share of the inheritance while he was alive. Don't give her your share too. This can't upvote you to enough. Sounds like your dad thought she got enough of his support, money, and enabling during life and wanted to give back to you after he was gone. If you're feeling generous, set aside something sentimental of his for her if she is ever in a better place emotionally. But if you can, keep tabs on her and your niece. Combining a greedy addict mum with a trust fund kid is a recipe for financial abuse if no one's watching. Hopefully the trust is tight enough that it won't happen within the next 16 years. But unless she changes, it's bound to happen then. Plus, you want your niece to survive physically and psychologically until then too. Adding on to this, if your sister is financially abusing her, try and get her out of there. As someone who has been financially and emotionally abused as a kid, that crap can screw with your head. Seconded. My social security number was used when I was 7 for a loan by a parent. Thankfully, it didn't matter by the time I was 16, but it's fudging wrong. Not the a-hole. Your dad left you everything for a reason. If you can spare the money and want to help your sister out with her education, you could always offer to pay directly to the school. If that's truly why she wants the money, then it shouldn't be an issue. Giving her cash and enabling her addiction helps no one but her dealer. That's actually a really good idea. She claimed the $2,000 originally and then said in an email she needed $3,000. When I asked her where the extra money came from, she sort of waffled and said that she had a $3,000 loan but only spent $2,000 on school. Lol. She's going to be outraged at this generous offer, I can guarantee. She wants the cash to fund her crappy lifestyle. I hope your niece isn't in a toxic situation here. If she's using, it's really not a safe environment for your niece to live in. This exactly. I recently lost both parents. Mum first, then Dad 6 months apart. Mum had no will, and when Mum died, Dad made one. I have 2 sisters, and one is a 20-year-long drug addict. He left her 10%, $500 paid monthly until it runs out. She's called me and asking to change it to a lump sum, has harassed the lawyer to change it as well. She didn't come to either of our parents' funerals, constantly calls me asking me when she'll get her portion, and a few months ago told me over the phone she was glad they were dead. Don't you dare squander a cent on your sister. She took from your dad for how long and never used it to better herself. I'm sorry for your loss and wish you and your husband the best in the future. Posted by user Fit and Into It Yum. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister the only reason her boyfriend is with her is because of his fetish? Oh, we love that. My sister, 25 female, and I, 22 female, grew up in the deep south. My dad is almost 400 pounds and my mum is close. I grew up as a fat kid. However, when I started college and moved to a very fitness-friendly state, I had to look that up, that's Colorado. I lost a lot of weight. I started to care more about my looks. I became a personal trainer last year and got a rhinoplasty recently to fix my crooked humped nose. My sister decided to move up with me. My sister was not very approving of my weight loss, nor was she happy. I did a lot to change my appearance. While we get along wonderfully most of the time, we still have fights about her thinking I'm vain. My sister's weight is around 300 pounds. I have offered her help, however, she just tells me life isn't about looks. Frankly, I don't care what she looks like, I just want her to be healthy and confident. My sister sometimes acts out at me a lot, especially when it comes to guys. When we have gone to bars, people can be cruel saying, "What, your sisters? Couldn't tell," or outwardly paying more attention to me. I defend her when I see it, but it still hurts her confidence. She has cried to me multiple times about dating, asking why can't anyone accept her for who she is. In January, my boyfriend of 2 years cheated on me. My sister told me that maybe he left me because I was too vain and high maintenance. I ignored her. Around the time of the breakup, she started dating a guy, and I was happy for her. However, the guy gave off some weird vibes. The way he looked at my sister when she ate, and making plans when my sister and I are supposed to do healthy activities. Since then, my sister has gained a massive amount of weight and has become more hostile towards me. Her boyfriend buys her large quantities of unhealthy food and insists that she needs to eat more. He is weirdly touchy with her and often dismisses things she says. They don't talk and just watch TV. She hasn't met his friends or his family yet also. She complains about how he never posts about her on social media. About a month ago, I had a friend over. This friend is interested in fetishes, and they recognized my sister's boyfriend from a feeder site. I didn't want to bring it up with my sister because that didn't seem like it was my place, but it worried me greatly. I recently downloaded multiple dating apps, and my sister, like any sister, wants to see who I matched with. I showed her, and she immediately said the only reason I got these matches is because I'm shallow. She then told me I might be more successful if I stopped worrying so much about the looks, and said that her boyfriend loves her for her personality and not her looks, and girls who look really good get men who want them just for their looks. This angered me to the point where I told my sis that her boyfriend is a feeder, and he doesn't love her. If he did, he would put her health over his fetish, and actually want to introduce her to the people in his life. My sister has refused to talk to me for a week so far, and calls me a horrible person along with my parents joining in. That is a mess and a half. Not the a-hole. Your intentions were good, and this guy is sending off red flags for you. However, you gotta respect that your sister is an adult, I assume, and is going to make her own choices. All you can do is show her the proof from the feeder site, as one user suggested, and let her know you care about her. You think she deserves better, and you'll always be there for her. You could approach this much more lovingly, of course. Telling her her boyfriend is only with her because of her fetish is not nice. Your sister must have good qualities. Telling someone to break up with their significant other, especially if that someone hasn't had a significant other before and is insecure about getting another one, pretty much never works. No matter who is right. She's going to have to sort this out for herself. Say your piece, make peace, and try to keep a good relationship with her so you can be there for her when this finally falls apart. I've offered to help pay for therapy a couple times, and offered to show her proof, but she just called me the B word and told me to stop being jealous because my boyfriend cheated on me for being vain. She has some good qualities, but frankly her attitude outweighs those. She has also had significant others in the past back home, and even lost some weight with one of them, but they had a really messy breakup when she went back into the old habits. I care about my sister, and used to give her tons of advice, and try to help her out of her massive anxiety, dependency issues, and all the other crap going on in her life. I learned that some people, even those close to you, don't want to fix the problems in their life. My sister doesn't want my advice or my help. So I stopped, and she still has those issues, and it hurts me to see her miserable, but it's her life. I can't control her and make her mentally healthier. I just have to accept that she is who she's going to be, and I'll be a good part of her life. You should do the same. Just apologize to her, even though you have good intentions, and tell her you won't meddle in her life anymore. If she brings up those comments about guys matching with you and hitting on you, just tell her that you don't appreciate it when she makes those comments towards you, and that you made your body the way you wanted it to be for yourself and not for others. Your sister needs to stop making nasty comments about your body. She's probably jealous about it and comparing your body with hers. And you need to stop helping her with her weight issues and relationships. Ooh, I don't think that anything really needs to be said apart from that. I think that these two responses make it clear. The sister's the a-hole. That OP is not the a-hole in this relationship. And really, there just needs to be boundaries set. Not much that I can say about this. I've not had too many experiences with this in my life. I think OP understands where they're at, and they've gotten good advice in this thread, and we should respect that. You know, you can't change other people. You can't always give them advice. Giving advice to people sometimes just upsets them, and it's not nice to upset people that you care about. So you have to be respectful in this instance, as much as it hurts you personally when you want other people to be better. That's all I have to say. I'm going to put you guys to outro Markee now. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you for listening. G'day there guys, outro Markee here. Hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed making it today. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you thought about it down below. Also, if you like memes, be sure to head on over to my second channel, AmITheA. It should be one of the sexy Australian faces on screen, the one without the flag. It's my latest and greatest creation, and I hope you like it. Also, I'd like to give a huge shout out to my channel members and Patreon subscribers. You guys do so much good for me, and the support goes without saying, but I'm gonna say say it anyway. I love you guys and I appreciate all the help and support you provide me on this channel. Also, if you want to join the family, links are down in the description below, or click that join button next to the subscribe button. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that one today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!